What's up? 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 What is up? How are y'all doing today, guys? We are here to talk about House of the Dragon, aka Dem Dragon Season 2, Episode 1. I am your host, Emmanuel E-Man Noisette. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank all of y'all that are here as well. If this is your first time hanging out with me as we talk about the not Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, we're going to go through the episode. I'll give you some reactions. We'll hear some comments from other people, and then at the end we will rate this episode. But I have to give you guys a spoiler alert. Because for some reason people just show up here, they haven't watched the episode. I don't know why they do this. I'm not gonna name no names, but if you are not interested in having the episode spoiled for you, now would be a great time to go on ahead, watch the episode, and then just come on back. It's no shame, because shout out to the replay gang. It's all right if you come on back a little bit later, but that is your spoiler alert. Like I said, we are going to go through the whole episode, so feel free to sit back and relax as we talk about it. Before we get started, let me just say a couple quick shout outs to some people that are here. DB, how you doing? Thank you so much for being here. Listen, the Child Protective Services, to be fair, at this time, Rhaenyra sent her boys out, and they got to learn how to be men. So, it's not the worst. It's not like she sent out some 5-year-olds. They've learned how to fight. They've learned diplomacy. And to be fair, they were only sent out as messengers. So that should have been one of the safest things that they could do. But I hear you. Paulette, how you doing? My man Johnny Washington, what's going on? Yeah, the Father's Day twist is definitely, they was on some stuff with that. They was definitely on some stuff. My man Tane is here. What is going on? Kiki, I can't wait to hear what your words are. Thank you for being there. Tyra, what is up? Good to see you. Zia, how you doing? Mr. Mitchell, good to see you. Rhonda, hanging out with the replay gang. All good, hanging out. A little later is fine by me. Tracy, thank you so much for being here. Listen, sometimes we all need a little therapy. I totally get you. Treese, how you doing? Thank you so much for being here. My man, Minister Crush, what is up? Listen, the family's got some issues. Okay, I don't know if family ain't got issues. All families got issues, but them Targaryens and them Greens, boy, they something else. Ms. Harper coming through. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Listen, somebody had to do the dirty work, but we gonna talk about that. My man Corey is here. How you doing, T-Ville? Good to see you. My man Cooke the Bully is back. Thank you so much. Daniel, thank you so much for being here. Dwight, how you doing? Kristen, what's up? Theo, good to see you. Callow, appreciate you coming through. My man Lou is here. Intellectual Humor, how are you? Hey, Low Key, how you doing? Let's see. Nerdy Nurse, what is up? Good to see you. JP, good to see you as well. Extraordinaire. Toby. Oh, the homie, hold on now. Charlissa, oh my gosh, caught a live. Yo, real quick, y'all, I gotta give my homie Charlissa a fantastic what's up and a thank you. She has been holding the channel down. I don't think y'all understand. I don't get a chance to thank her enough. After every live, like literally the second the live is done, she will hit your boy up with a cash app. So I want to thank you, ma'am, for keeping the lights on. I appreciate your $50 cash app last time. Means the world to me. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. So I want to make sure you got your flowers. I want you to know I see you. All right, I see you. Andrew, thank you so much for being here. Delicious, what's up? Let's see. Dames Tucker, hello, good to see you. And shout out to everyone that is coming out later tonight. I appreciate y'all one way or another. Let's see. Tracy, what you say here? The child killing heathens of Westeros are making places like the west side of Chicago, the Shire, look like an oasis of peace, quiet, and calm and community. I mean, listen, Westeros has been ghetto. Like, don't let the royal family fool you. They've been ghetto for a long time. So, and ever since Viserys died, it's been downhill. It's been going downhill ever since. But thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. Now, before we get started, let me just kind of tell y'all a little something. So before I started watching, I don't know if you guys did this or not either, but I rewatched the entire first season, and it is fantastic. I cannot express to y'all how well written this show was, because there were certain things that were going down in the first season that I know while we were watching it, it never registered for us. They dropped little things, little hints, little clues, and it just never really added up for us. I'll give you a perfect example. If you go back, I think it was like episode 4 or 5, something like that. Remember, what's his name? Tink Tink with the bad foot. Larys, I think his name is, whatever. When he first had his one-on-one meeting with Alicent, not outside, but in closed doors in a room. Go back to that scene. Guess what she did the moment she got in there? Yes, she took off her shoes. Now, nothing happened that we saw, but I thought it was really interesting how they were always leaving little clues for us throughout the season, but you wouldn't get it until you go back and rewatch with hindsight. So now when you see certain things, and I'll talk about that later, even in this episode, there are certain things that happen that I believe we've always had clues about before. We'll also talk about some different themes that also happen, because there are some patterns in this show that I want to put out there, and I think we've seen it, but it's helpful to talk about it. So anyway, the other thing I noticed when I did my rewatch. Now, I don't know about y'all, but I always believed that Daemon Targaryen was a very complex character, right? Like, he clearly was not perfect. Dude was arrogant. My man was just out there living his life, whatever. He looked like he kind of wanted to be the king, but at the same time, he would kind of like flip-flop. Upon the second viewing of the first season, I am here to let y'all know Daemon Targaryen was always right. He was right about everything. He was right about everyone. Because the way the show set him up, they set him up to seem like he was just some wild guy, and he was just, unstable and, whatever. Like, he was just arrogant and stuff. No, Daemon was about his business. But more importantly, Daemon was about his family from the very beginning. When he sat here and told Viserys, you should have put me as your hand to the king. Now, back then, I was sitting there like, Daemon, chill out, bro. You irresponsible. Chill out, bro. Ain't nobody gonna make you hand. But he said, yeah, Otto, he ain't nothing but a C word. Okay. He was like, he a C word. And he was right. He was right. Daemon was like, and Viserys was like, oh, so you trying to get my throne? You trying to be king? And he was like, no, I'm going to help you be king because you too weak. He was right. Daemon was right, because Viserys was always one of those little on the fence, trying to be peaceful. And Daemon would have had that court snuffed out. He would have made sure everybody around Viserys was on point. He would have been, if it was time to get some smoke, he would have been the first one in line. I have a newfound respect for Daemon after watching the first season again. That's all I'm saying. That's Daemon was right. Last thing I'm going to say before we get started. I understand that this episode is going to deal with some heavy themes and some heavy situations that is probably tough for some people to stomach. But as you can see from my attire, I am here to justify everything and anything Team Black has done, because it's Team Black. You see listen, you see the color change, okay? I hope it's very clear. It's Team Black all day, every day over here, okay? And Team Black did nothing wrong. I'm gonna let you know that right now. If you Team Green, I already told y'all, you probably the ops. I can't trust nobody that's Team Green. It just don't make sense to me. So, with that said, Let me grab a couple of these and then we'll get started. Oof. Low key, thank you. That's why we here with you. I miss everything. Listen, I just thank you so much, low key. I appreciate you, Kiki. I'm not gonna forget you. I'm gonna save that for when we get to that point. I'm gonna save yours for when we get there. But all right, listen, let's get started because we got a lot to talk about, and we're gonna get through this. All right, so we kick it off. With going all the way up to the north. And as we see here, they are picking stones to see who is going to actually go to the wall. And keep in mind that in the north, it is not considered a punishment for especially the Stark family to go to the wall. Now, of course, we know in the old series and Game of Thrones that it was criminals and people like that that were going to serve on the wall. But if you are from the north, if you are part of the Stark family, they view this more so as an honor to fortify the watch. So this has got a completely deeper meaning. And if you really think about it, this is one of the reasons why Jon Snow volunteered to go to the watch, because he was like, yo, we have a deep tradition for this. Let me uphold this family tradition. Now we're introduced here to Cregan Stark. He is the son of I forget the other guy's name. The other Stark that when we saw the Hightowers basically asking everyone to bend a knee, he was the one that was like, nah, us Starks, we gave our word to Rhaenyra, and he never came back. They probably killed him off because, you know, he didn't bend the knee. And it just kind of speaks to the level of honor that goes behind the Stark name. I mean, spoiler alert, Ned Stark, he also died because of his honor. So everything when it comes to the Northerners, when it comes to the Starks, their word is their bond. Like that is the thing that they stick to, even when it's a stupid mistake. Rob, yeah, you and your oaths, Rob. Getting everybody killed out there, boy. Just man. But anyway, so we meet up with Cregan here. And you know, he mentions to Jace here that because Jace is out here petitioning just to make sure that the Northerners are still going to be on Rhaenyra's side. Keep in mind, this is the same mission that Luke went on in the last episode of the last season. And you know, Cregan was like, listen, I appreciate the fact that you didn't come in here with a big old dragon and threaten us, because 9 times out of 10, that's probably what Aemon and the other Greens, the Hightowers, that's probably what they have been doing to a lot of other people and a lot of the other people in their, to get on their side. So, you know, they're sitting here, they're talking about the wall. And what was interesting that he mentioned was like, the actual wall itself and why it was built. And Cregan mentions how like even dragons, when the old kings and queens came, their dragons never wanted to cross over the wall. Like they was like, nah, we not doing that. It's not happening. And you have to realize that, like, because of what we know from Game of Thrones, the dragons must have some sort of sixth sense to be like, yeah, nah, we ain't gonna mess with them White Walkers over there. Nah, we will Dracarys everybody else over here, but we not going to the north side. Nah, we not doing that. It's a little and we've seen what happens even when the White Walkers get control of a dragon, and it's bad news. So even the dragons back then respected that line. They was like, nah, that wall right there. We good on that. We not going over there. Anyway, a raven comes in, and this, of course, has the bad news, because all ravens carry bad news about Luke's death. And this is the first time that Jace hears about it. We see Rhaenys coming in, aka Princess Never Ever. She's coming in, and she's back from patrolling all the blockades that have been set up now around King's Landing. But Daemon was like, yo, I need you to squad up. You coming with me. We about to go kill Vhagar right now. And she was like, man, Vhagar kind of big. I don't know. And I'm tired. And he was like, listen, if it's 2 against 1, we gonna take him down. And by the way, I want a son for a son. They not gonna do this to us. And Rhaenyra, you know, she was like, he was talking about how Rhaenyra has been missing, you know, in action at this point. And a lot of that has to do, obviously, because she's grieving. She's grieving the fact that her son was lost, and she's out there basically trying to find evidence of what happened to him. And Rhaenys basically reminded him, like, yo, like, I was just like that too. When my son was dead, when my kids died, all I got was just a raven. So when I got a raven, I also understand where she was coming from and how that felt. So yeah, like I get it. Let her process. So Daemon was like, hold on now. I said you coming with me. You gonna fly out with me to King's Landing. It is a command. Queen Never Ever, she was like, listen, I pay you a little bit more mind if you was actually king, but you just decide you the royal side piece. Ain't nobody taking commands from you. And she walked away, just clean away. Anywho, we see Rhaenyra out here, and again, she is currently grieving. You know, she is on the coastline, really just looking for anything, any signs of Luke anywhere that he could potentially be. But she's not finding anything at this moment. And of course, you can see it in her face. Like, she is just really, really going through it. Then we jump to Corlys Velaryon, and he is back from his injury. Remember, he was out at sea at battle, and he was dealing with fever that almost killed him. And he's still sad, obviously, about Luke's death, mainly because Luke was supposed to inherit Driftstone. He was supposed to basically be the successor of Corlys at this point, because remember, Laenor, the gay son, he's presumed dead at this point. We know he's not dead, but he is presumed dead at this point. We find out that Alan, the other brother right there, was the one who actually saved Corlys at sea. Now, again, I have not read the books, so I don't know. Please don't spoil it for me or the others. But I do believe that they gave this brother way too many lines, and not in a bad way, but it just indicates that he's going to be more important somewhere down the line. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I'm getting the feeling, because he was also in what was that movie? It was a TV show, something Wolves or whatever. But anyway, I like the fact that he's here. It looks like he is definitely going to be he's going to have a role sooner or later. Now we go back to King's Landing, and we see the soldiers. They are loading up the Scorpion, ready to take down a dragon, but they find out that it's only Vhagar, so they hold back. And in case you guys forgot, this Scorpion weapon is pretty much what you can use against a dragon to take them down. I mean, it's one of the few weapons that they can actually use, and we've seen it actually kill one of Khaleesi's dragons back in the last Game of Thrones season. So that just kind of lets you know that they do have some sort of defenses against dragons. Now we go back inside, and Aegon comes in looking for his son Jaehaerys. He wants him basically to be present at the meeting, and he's like looking for him. And his sister / wife, Helaena, she's like, yeah, you know, don't bother him. He's just kind of like chilling right now. You know, maybe he don't want to be king. And he's like, okay, that's great. Where's the son? Where's the boy? Where is he at? And she was like, listen, I'm afraid. And he was like, you know, don't be afraid of them dragons. We good. And she was like, no, I ain't afraid of the dragons. I'm afraid of the rats. Now, this goes back to what has always been the case when it comes to Targaryens. They will either have, now we know that Targaryens have some sort of connection, magical, whatever, to dragons, but they also have this interesting ability of foresight. So whether it's a dream, just like Viserys had the dream of basically the White Walkers and all that, and or in the case of Helaena, she's able to like have this like sense of foresight ahead of time. She sees stuff. Now we've seen what she did in the past episodes. She will do things and talk about how the beast beneath the boards, and then what happens? Boom, the dragon comes from beneath the floor. So in other words, every time Helena speaks, she spoils the episode. Every single time. Like, she sat here and talked about Aemon when she was like, oh yeah, you'll get a dragon one day. And she was like, yeah, but you're gonna have to lose an eye. Like, she spoils everything every time. So clearly, you know, we get our first hint of what she was talking about with the rats. Now, I personally thought that she was talking about actual rats. Like, I thought real rats were going to come in and mess people up, but clearly that wasn't the case. Yeah. So Alicent, how can I put it? So she was having a dinner date. She was having a dinner date with Sir Christian Cole out here. They was having a dinner date, and she told him that, listen, we just can't do this no more. Okay, we cannot do this anymore. And just like that, these two, Cole and Alicent, have become the biggest hypocrites in all of Westeros. Cole believed that he tries to put the blame on Rhaenyra and say, like, oh, she made me break my vows. Bro, when? The first time? Second time? Third time? Fourth time? When? When did she do what are you talking about? Because at some point, you did kind of bend the knee in other ways. Okay, at some point. So the fact that he's still bitter about Rhaenyra is just ridiculous. But the queen, she got on Rhaenyra for all this too. When she found out about Cole and Rhaenyra messing around, she was all like, oh my gosh, that is so unladylike, that is so bad. Why would you do it? Well, she really got on her when she thought it was her and Daemon. But either way, you know, Alicent was looking down on Rhaenyra all that time, and the whole time, Alicent just been jealous. Viserys ain't been dead for 2 minutes. Now, actually, Viserys been dead for like 10 years. My man was falling apart. He was looking like the literal Walking Dead for 10 years. But I'm just saying, officially, he ain't been dead for 2 minutes. And Alicent already out there on dinner dates. You know, like, what? Man, I'm just saying, lady, like, you could, whew. But now they out here, you know, humping and stuff and trying to paint themselves as better than other people, and, you know, just having like this sense of higher morale, when clearly that's not the case. Okay, it is clearly not the case. But what's interesting is the fact that, you know, Alicent, she's the one that's like taking up the whole the Seven, which is basically their form of like organized religion. So she's, you know, trying to represent a morally, religiously higher standard. And even more ironic, Christian, he's supposed to take a vow of celibacy. He broke it already, and now he just keep on breaking it. And then you're gonna have him put on the white cloak. The white cloak that's really supposed to be a symbol of like purity and you know, all of that stuff. See, like, they just walking hypocrites. That's all. So, and she's wearing, I don't have a picture of it, but Alicent, she's wearing like a pendant of the Seven, which is probably just like wearing a cross if you're Christian or something like that. So anyway, you know, I do remember that there was a moment in the first season, I think it's when Christian Cole went crazy and killed you know, dude at the dinner or whatever, Laenor's you know, male partner. And while he was going crazy, Alicent came up to him and was like, yo, don't forget, like, you know, what you vowed to me, or don't forget, like, you know, your devotion to me, or something of that nature, right? And I'm getting the impression that clearly this dinner date was not the first time. I'm getting the impression that, you know, this has obviously been happening multiple times already. And it probably started off one way and then it ended off, the way it is now. But clearly, this is gonna be a problem. This is gonna be a problem. Let's see, Kiki, what you got? Alicent out here getting her box clean during the medieval times is wild. Wild indeed. Wild indeed. It absolutely is unbecoming of the queen. Because that's what she said to Rhaenyra. She told her that it was unbecoming to be out there in them streets. Meanwhile, she out here in them same streets getting Rhaenyra sloppy seconds. Have y'all noticed that? I'm telling you, Alicent has been jealous of Rhaenyra from the jump. She like, I want to go to the brothel. Like, she want all of that. Okay, she just wants all of that mess. It's messed up. Thank you, Kiki. I appreciate you. Let's see. Helena done read all the books and tries not to spoil the episodes. She fails every time. I ain't seen her say 2 words that wasn't some sort of indication of what was to come. Like, she always got a moment. But we gonna talk more about it. But she definitely read all the books. She definitely did. Let's see. Kiki mad because the heir to the throne didn't want to run away with him to sell oranges and Essos. Listen, this had to have been one of the dumbest things. I remember rewatching this, and I was like, bro, you went into full save them mode. Don't save them. They don't want to be saved. He went into full, I'ma save her mode, and she didn't want to be saved. You want me to give up the kingdom? All my free food? My servants that bathe and wash me? You want me to give up all this gold? You want me to give up my dragons for some oranges? For some oranges. Yeah, Buddy was on a hold. Listen, he must have been on that milk of the poppy, because I don't know what he was drinking and smoking to think that was a plausible option. Because why? Who told him that was going to work? He must have thought he was Aladdin. I can show you the oranges. No, you can't. Bro, she a whole cake. What? Nah, bro. Nah, go on somewhere. Anyway. Let's see. So we see here, this is our first glimpse at the rat catcher. And this is really just more so a glimpse at the fact that he is able to be all within the castle, right? So this is how we really get a chance to see how his function is in the kingdom. Now we do go to the actual council, and this is where we see the bad little kid Jaehaerys, and he's already trying to do bad things with them royal balls. And of course, Aegon don't care. He's just out there like, that's my boy. That's my bad little boy. That's just, look at him. That just making daddy proud. And Alicent, she asked about the letters, that she sent out to Rhaenyra. And these letters were basically apology letters about the death of Luke. And I find this kind of rich coming from Alicent, of all people. Let's not forget that when Alicent's son, Aemon, when they were kids, when he got injured, do y'all remember how buck Alicent got? I mean, she was nuck if you buck like that. She was ready to cut. She literally took out the dagger from the king and tried to slice that boy up. So now I just find it very interesting that, like, she's sending out these apology letters or whatever. Because I'm like, listen, if the shoe was on the other foot, if Rhaenyra had killed Aemon, or her son killed Aemon, or something like that, Alicent wouldn't be sitting here waiting from some Hallmark card of ravens to make things right. She wouldn't be looking at that. She'd be like, listen, it's time for war. Let's go. I'm going to be on the front lines. We about to kill everybody. I don't want a son for... Alicent would be like, I want all your sons. Not one for one. I want all of them. Come on now. Alicent out here trying to just trying to play the game. She tried to play the game. Now, I do believe that Alicent does have a somewhat still kind heart, but I'm just saying, if the situations were flipped, I don't think she'd be this cool about it. Now, by the way, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to this brother who got a promotion. He became the new Meister. I don't know if y'all recall, but like when the old Meister was around, trying to put leeches and all the old things on King Viserys, this guy was like, hey, you know, I could put some herbs and spices and we could really help him out. But the old Meister didn't want to do nothing. He was like, nah, them leeches are going to be just fine as King Viserys just rotted away. I'm just saying, I personally believe this brother is the reason why King Viserys lived them extra 10, 15 years that he had no business living. I believe because he became the Meister at that point. So I just want to put some respect on this man just real quick. You know, shout out to him. You know, listen, everybody ain't got a DEI Meister. And because they got him, I'm just trying to put a little respect on that. That's all. Anyway, we go to Aegon, and he insists that his bad little kid needs a pony ride from Tywin Lannister, who's the master of coin. But luckily, Alicent quickly reminds them that they have business to attend to. You know, they finally sent that little bad kid home. Now, as they're doing this, you know, oh, actually, no, I do want to talk about this for a quick second. So this was an interesting point that was brought up by the showrunners, and they talked about how like Aegon, you know, he's kind of bad just a little bit, but like this seems like a way for him to kind of give his son Jaehaerys something that he never got, right? So obviously we recall the fact that Viserys did that controversial move and called Rhaenyra the heir to the throne, right? Like that was a big thing. So Viserys ended up putting a lot of his time and energy in building her up because she was next in line. He told her the dream. He told her, like, he gave her little bits of wisdom and stuff. Like, he confided all those things with her. Nobody did that with Aegon. Like, Aegon did not get the same level of treatment or training that Rhaenyra got. So, you know, Aegon probably felt neglected, especially since, you know, he was too busy shooting his shot outside of windows and stuff, or having side babies on the streets. So bottom line, you know, he's trying to be a good dad for his son. But he never had a good attentive father in the first place. So clearly you're only going to get the best of whatever you can work with at that point. But I thought that was actually kind of interesting because, you know, we have a couple moments in this show that demonstrate the fact that, you know, Aegon is not really 100% like bad. Like that's not really what he is. Now, maybe he'll get there, but right now he's not there exactly. Aemon does come in and joins in the battle planning. And Aegon is just ready to let Aemon run out there with Vhagar and burn up everything. And Alicent just continues to push for caution because she knows that Vhagar should stay in King's Landing and just keep Rhaenyra away from seeking revenge. And it was very interesting here because, as she mentioned, yeah, we wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for, you know, somebody killing Luke. Aemon clearly does not care about what he did. You see the smirk on his face. Now, what's funny about this is that ain't the look that he had on his face in the final episode. Y'all remember he was like, ooh. You remember when you hit your little sibling a little too hard? You be like, ooh. You know, like, you know, you finna be in trouble. That's the way Aemon looked when he killed, you know, Luke or whatnot. But now he out here smirking like it's not, like it's no big deal. Whatever. Anyway. Let's see. Larys, we do see Larys is now talking with I'm sorry, I don't have an image of him. But anyway, Tink is talking to Alicent, and he said that, you know, when he was looking for, you know, he was looking for the queen, but she might have been kind of busy and a little preoccupied, you know. And he's not showing it, but he's clearly suspicious of what's going on, and she's trying to play it off or whatever, right? And you know, while he was kind of suspicious of what was going on, one might say that, you know, he knew something was afoot. I'll keep my day job. But we knew why she was really busy that morning. But I'm sure that, you know, Mr. Strong is also going to know why that is as well, because he told her that he weeded out all the snitches on her staff, and, you know, basically they sleeping with the fishes. But he also told her that he handpicked all of her new staff personally. Now she dismisses the staff, and, you know, she continues to wash her body off and all that. But I think this is kind of interesting because it does show something about Alicent, maybe to some degree. And we'll see other signs about this too. But I think that there's an internal conflict going on with her. Deep down, she's really not a bad person. I mean, almost everything that she's done in this show that could be looked as shady has happened because of an external situation. Her daddy making her go lay up with the king. Other kids injuring her kid. You know, just all these different things keep on happening around her that push her to this level, or even Rhaenyra lying to her about what happened. So a lot of these things, she doesn't really want to be bad. Even when Larys came up to her the first time and told her about how he killed his whole family and stuff like that, for her, she felt some type of ways about that, you know. So like, I think that, you know, she's probably not even feeling very good about sleeping with Cole. You know, like all these things are building up in her. And, you know, we did see her send those sorry letters via Raven to Rhaenyra's son. So maybe she's trying to wash her sins away. Maybe. I don't know. But listen, if that ain't a red flag, though, about Clubfoot basically hiring all her staff. This dude is clearly a mix of Littlefinger and Varys. Y'all remember Varys, fat bald guy with all the little kid spider people? Because Larys is like more than likely, I think he's doing everything he can to get dirt on everybody. Because remember, information is power in this world. And his staff are probably people that are going to work for him rather than the queen. So I'm kind of surprised that Alicent at this point would be so dumb or so naive to kind of let this happen. I mean, yeah, she told them to go away or whatever, so maybe she's a little distrusting. But I'm like, you giving this dude way too much power. And he's not really your friend. Like, none of these people are really your friend like that. The only person that might have your back is your daddy, but even he kind of shady. But anyway, hold on, let's see. Okay. So we go back to the coast and we see Rhaenyra is on the coastline. She finds a part of Luke's dragon's wing washed up on the shore along with his cloak. She went out looking for evidence of his death, but more so, she was looking for closure at this point. And if I'm not mistaken, I believe you also heard her dragon kind of crying just like she was, or wailing, you know, just like she was. And I believe that's because Luke's dragon was also the child of Rhaenyra's dragon. So it was an interesting parallel that they both kind of lost their children and they both were kind of mourning simultaneously at that point. But this is kind of like our evidence that, yeah, Luke is probably done for. And by the way, actually, I want to throw this out there. What if Luke is still alive? I mean, the death did happen off camera, and all we know, if you didn't see a body, anything could happen. Now imagine the dragon clearly got chomped up, but maybe he jumped off in time, fell into the sea, some fishermen found him or something, And maybe, he's taking a couple of months to get back to health, and it might take some time for him to get back home. But either way, I'm wondering if this show is kind of holding that up their sleeve, so to speak. Do y'all think that Luke could have survived? And I'm wondering, yes, if he died, obviously that's a catalyst for kicking off the war and everything. But I'm wondering what would happen if he came back. What would have happened if he came back? Because keep in mind, the show has already diverted from the books, just minor stuff here and there. But I'm wondering, is there an angle if he comes back? Does it help? Does it do anything? No? Y'all think he all did? Okay, y'all think he did. Okay, listen, I don't really care. It ain't nothing for me. I don't really care if he go. But, I just thought it was interesting if maybe he was like alive. Maybe that would soften people up. I don't know. Whatever. But all right, let's move on. Aegon is now doing his royal duties, and he's listening to the people at this point, and hearing their petitions and all that. One of those herders basically heard about, it was complaining about his sheep that were missing, and Aegon was going to pay him back, but Otto was like, hold on now. Now, if you give him a little something, you're going to have to give something to everybody else that come in with the same story. You're going to have to relax with all that, okay? And he reminded him that when the king speaks, everyone hears it. And Aegon had to go renege on his offer. So I think this is another instance where we see how even Aegon, he is internally still a compassionate, empathetic person, but because of the role of being the king, he does kind of have to he has these moments where he's kind of like, all right, well, oh well. And I think what's interesting about this scene is that it's just kind of showing us that Aegon is not one-dimensional. He's not just your stereotypical classic villain. He's not Joffrey at this point. Now, maybe he can eventually turn into a Joffrey. We don't know. But it is possible that, he's just a little bit more complex than we think. Now we do see Strongfoot coming in, digging his toes deep into Aegon, because he's planting seeds against Otto. He plays on the fact that Aegon wants to be viewed differently than his father, King Viserys. Now, clearly, Strong is positioning himself, and I think we can tell now what his goal really is. He wants to be the new hand to the king. And if that does happen, think about that power play. He won't need Alicent anymore, because right now Alicent was really his way in. Alicent was really his way of just getting a step towards power. But now, hey, if you can get the ear of the king, if you can get the trust of the king, you going places. So he already got Aegon thinking about this, and you could see the gears in his head already turning. Now, Alicent, she got some issues, and she's talking to her dad, and she's not cool about the fact that he kept undermining her at the council meetings. She knows that both Aemon and Aegon will eventually start to ignore her if, Otto keeps undermining her, mainly because they respect Otto. So if Otto does it, they know that, that others will do it as well, that she'll also be disrespected by other people as well. So we move on. We see that the White Worm, or Daemon's mistress, they found her. And keep in mind that she was a master of spies, right? So she had control of all these little kids that gathered information for her. She worked for Otto's to return Aegon back to him. And, it was all transactional. But if you really think about it, she was the real reason why Aegon was able to become king. And Daemon was just sick of her, even though, she was just doing whatever she had to do. He basically had her locked up to be as being a traitor. Now, I like this one interaction. There was this interaction with Daemon and one of the Erics. And Daemon is like, man, y'all should have stood on business. And when they were usurping the crown, y'all should have stood up, fought. Heck, even maybe y'all should have died, whatever. But y'all should have done something, right? And it was interesting here because Eric made a hard decision, even though he turned his back on his own brother, his own twin brother at that. So, Daemon questioning his loyalty is kind of a ballsy move, I think, on Daemon's part. But Eric brought up a good point, and he was like, listen, I took a whole vow. I took a vow to protect the royal family. And what are we supposed to do when the royal family starts to fight against themselves? All you really can do is just fall back. Anyway, we get back because guess who's back? Rhaenyra is back in action. And by the way, I love this whole scene where they had her walking into the room. It was just great cinematography. And my girl said only 4 words. She was like, I want Aemon Targaryen. Point blank, period. Daemon was like, oh, word? Say less. And that was it. That's all he had to hear. It was not a big deal whatsoever. He was like, it's all good. I got you. Daemon promises the White Worm her freedom if she can give him some information on some of the servants and some of the people on the inside of the kingdom. And we see Jace comes back from his mission. And listen, poor guy, he was trying to hold it together, trying to give his little official report, all while he just found out his brother died, So listen, this moment was a little teary, it was a little tough, and like while they're sitting there crying and stuff, we do see Alicent. She is in the sept, and we see her praying, and she prays for Viserys, but she also says another prayer for Luke. So this is kind of interesting that, while Rhaenyra and everybody on Team Black is, mourning him, you still have Alicent in private, by the way, also saying, a prayer for Luke. And I think that this is another telling sign of her character. She's not doing this for show, to pray for your enemy's dead child. I think that shows that she does mean it when it comes to how sorry she felt about what happened to Luke. So there is some level of sincerity here. However, we got to go to Hoodie Daemon, because y'all know when my man get his evil Kermit on, it is on and popping. There is nothing better than when Hoodie Daemon comes out, because Hoodie Daemon is about to do some stuff that's about to go down. Last time he did that, he masqueraded a whole murder, okay, or he staged a murder, I should say. So this is definitely where things are gonna turn up when he busts out the hood. He shows up, and this is where we meet. Well, we'll call him Blood. I'm not gonna lie. When Daemon was like, "Hey, I heard you don't like them high towers," and when he said, "Man, bleep the high towers," I laughed. I just thought that was kind of funny. Because he said that with his whole chest. My man don't like them high towers at all. But I like that. But keep in mind, Blood is from the Gold's Watch, right? Or the Gold Watch. This is the same company, the same soldiers that the Gold Cloaks, I'm sorry. It's the same company that Daemon, I think he's still in charge of. I don't know. Either way, those people are still very loyal to Daemon, which you can still see. And Daemon basically is like, hey, let's cut this deal, And with that, this is where we meet the rat catcher, or Cheese in this case. So Daemon cuts a deal to both of them and says, listen, I want you to go in and I want you to kill Aemon. But here's the kicker. The rat catcher, he asked him, he was like, wait a minute. What if we can't find Aemon? Like, what are we supposed to do? And Daemon is silent here. Now, for those of y'all that have read the books, I think this is where they kind of change stuff up, if I'm not mistaken, because I want to say in the book, Daemon might have been a little bit more devious about stuff. I don't know. But it was a very interesting pivot here. Hold on, Kiki, what you got? So in the books, it was said that he may, okay, you're talking about Luke, he may have survived and washed up on the shore and didn't know who he was. So possibly, okay. So maybe, I mean, I feel like that'd be kind of a waste. Like, What we gonna do with the amnesia Luke? But okay, listen, that's cool. Like if that's a possibility that could have happened, fine by me. All right, so let's see. So Daemon might be on some shady stuff here when he's basically silent about what to do if Aemon isn't there. Now, Aemon, speaking of Aemon, he and Sir Cole start plotting. They're plotting out basically their whole war strategies and stuff. And Aemon at this point is making up his own plans behind King Aegon's back. He even calls out his own mother for being a two-tongued hypocrite. And Cole, now come on now, we all know Cole is all about having two tongues. Okay, you know, because he's a hypocrite. Get your minds out the gutter. He has two tongues because he's a hypocrite. You big nasty. Stop being nasty. But technically, it would be right. Also, I'll allow it. But anyway, it's crazy because Cole started to like defend Alicent only to speak ill about Rhaenyra again, calling her a spider and all these different things, all these names or whatever. And my man just acting like he wasn't in on it with her as well. Like, man, Cole is starting to get annoying to me. Like, he has become so bitter and so hurt. You would think that, I would have thought that he would have matured at this point. But like, he really hates Rhaenyra. Like, he hates her. Like, at every point, somebody could just say something Targaryen. Rhaenyra's a spider. Like, he probably used some other words. But I'm just saying, like, out of nowhere, he just got to make sure Rhaenyra catches stray. This dude, like, is there any other hater bigger than him in House of the Dragon? I don't know. But anyway, now, Otto comes in, and as Otto comes in, he confronts Aemon, and he's like, listen, I need you to chill out. Okay. I know you out here, you don't want to be out here making plans behind the king and the hand's back, which is ironic because that's exactly what Otto did behind Viserys's back. But he's warning Aemon to just be cool. He knows that Aemon has a lot of ambition. He knows that Aemon wants all the smoke at any place, anytime. But he's like, listen, I need you to chill just for now. Okay. All I know is whatever happens in this show, all I know is we need Aemon versus Daemon. I need Aemon and Daemon to show up on a battlefield. I don't care if they just want to go one-on-one. I need this matchup. They teased it. Remember that little royal dinner that they had, the family dinner? And Daemon kind of got in, Aemon's face and was like, what you gonna do? I'm still your uncle now. Like, what you gonna do? So I need Aemon and Daemon to fight. Because if they don't fight, what are we doing with this whole show? Like, why are we here? What are we doing? At the same time that I want them to fight, I'm a little nervous because Aemon don't look like nobody to mess with. Aemon has taken his whole life after being made fun of and been out there training like Rocky. My man has been out there on the beaches. He's been fighting. He's been mastering. He's right there with Cole. Like, clearly Cole is like his Piccolo for some of y'all Dragon Ball fans. Like, that's his main guy. So he knows how to fight. And they did show you for a quick second that Aemon bested Cole. And Cole bested Daemon. So I'm a little nervous. I know I want them to square up, but I'm a little nervous Aemon might beat Daemon. And if they do that, I don't want to see the fight. I don't want to see the fight because I don't want to see Daemon lose. Like, I can't I don't think I can handle Damon losing. I don't want that. But this is the fight that this is what I need. This is what I really want to see. But yeah, anyway. All right. So yeah, Otto basically told him to chill out, relax. You know, we gotta be cool about this. But then of course we see Blood and Cheese. They make their way into the castle. They go into Aemon's room, but they don't find him. So Blood mentioned that Damon said no head means they won't get paid any gold. So, you know, Blood goes into another room, but boom, he ends up seeing a servant who, by the way, quickly disappeared. Like she just went off, probably to go snitch. So now it's basically up for Blood to go and get to work fast because his cover is probably blown at this point. And keep in mind, the reason why the tension gets up here with that servant leaving is because Cheese, the rat catcher, he kept talking about how he's not supposed to be up here. He has limits. He's supposed to work on the bottom, the dungeon, the tunnels and stuff, but he's not supposed to be up there, on the royal levels or whatever. So even if they were just doing their job, he was already crossing the line. So clearly they were going to get caught at this point. But in another room, we do see that Cheese has Helena. He has Queen Helena at knife point. And Blood mentioned that Damon said a son for a son. And they force Helena to choose between her kids and tell them which one is actually a boy or the girl. And I'm just still wondering, like, y'all couldn't have just checked. I'm just saying, like, it's not like the kids were wearing armor. Yeah, it would have taken you 2 seconds. Just, boy, girl, like what? Anyway, they clearly did this for dramatic effect. But Helena was like, "Yo, I got this necklace. It's valuable. You know what's up with that?" They was like, "Man, we don't want that. We don't want that. You give it up. Point out that kid. Point him out." And she ends up pointing out her young son, Jaehaerys, and they get to work on that young boy, and you could literally hear his screams, his muffles. You could hear clearly they were using their weapons on this young kid, and Helena ends up, taking her other kid and running out, and she runs straight to her mama's room. And as she runs into and barges in, we see that the queen was riding Cole's high tower and knocking them iron boots until the sudden interruption. And Helena tells the queen that they killed the boy. She said they killed the boy. And of course, you see the look on Alicent's face as she realizes what's going on. And it cuts out. All right. So, lots of stuff here. For one, if I'm not mistaken, somebody correct me. I don't believe that the Cole Alicent scene was in the books. I believe they did add that for the show. Dramatic effect, whatever. I thought it was interesting when Helena ran into the room. Now, some people were like, oh, she was so traumatized. Oh, she barely, recognized what was going on. I think Helena's always been on the spectrum. She's always been kind of special. Like, I don't even think she can register what, like, if that was a big deal or not, personally. So I think she's still kind of on the special side, right? So I don't think she'd even register how problematic it was to walk in on the queen like that. By the way, if any one of them servants walk just across the hall and look in and they see Kristen and they see, Alicent in the bed, like that's a problem. It's a problem. But I guess now we have to talk about like what does it mean, for the fact that they went after Jaharis or Jaharis. So for one, they didn't get Aemon. Now, if they had gotten Aemon, it would have been like, you know what? We saw that coming, right? Because remember, Alicent did say, yo, Aemon got to stay on Vhagar because we not trying to get no smoke. We know Rhaenyra wants revenge. So if Aemon had got, I feel like they would have been like, you know what? It's time for a truce. I feel like that would have happened. But the fact that Rhaenyra's step nephew, is that it? No, yeah, that's her nephew that died. Step nephew died. I don't know. And the fact that it was an innocent child, that might take Aegon over the top. Like Aegon at first was like, man, whatever, we could go burn them up and all this. But now, this is where Aegon might end up going full Joffrey. This is where he's going to be like, oh, you killed my heir? Really? Like, I could see you going for my brother. I understand that. But you going for my innocent child? The heir to the throne at that? That's war. Because now you really being like, you crossing a whole different line when you start going for the heirs. Don't nobody care about Aemon, right? If Aemon died, meh, whatever. It's cool because you still had Jaharis and all that. Nobody would have cared if Aemon died. But you're going to kill the little kid. And think about the fact that this is going to be a negative look on Team Black because it's like, wait a minute, y'all out here killing kids? This is what y'all doing? So you can already sense the fact that you got Rhaenyra, who's grieving. She wanted Aemon, but Daemon got her Jaharis instead. This is going to be a bad look. This just got way messier. And this is only going to rile up Team Green 10 times more. Now, this is something I wanted to kind of point out, especially when you do a rewatch. When you go through and rewatch, notice how, like, including up to this episode, we're always having this theme of accidental catalysts, right? There's always something accidental or non-intentional that happens that pushes one person forward or one side forward. Because there was a point in time where I can't even remember how many times Alicent and Rhaenyra would be like, you know what? We was tripping. We used to be friends. Let's be cool. And then one of their kids would fight, and then boom, stuff gets turned up. And then after a while, they're like, okay, your kid lost an eyeball. Okay, listen, let's put it to bed. We cool. Let's chill out. And then you kill one of our kids. Now we got to turn up. And look at Alicent. Alicent was like, listen, I'm sorry. Here go a raven with my, some little hearts on there. Like, let's be cool. And then you went and killed her little, grandkid and the double nephew. Is that what we calling them now? Like, it's always something else unintentional. Like, people like, yo, can we have peace? Oh, you did that? Okay, now it's time for the smoke. Hey, listen, I just want peace. I don't want, oh, you just did what? Okay, now I want the smoke. It's always going back and forth. Every single time. All the time. I'm ready for this war to get started. It's time. I'm tired. Everybody start fight. Listen, get the dragons out. Let's get the Dracarys, and let's just start. Because I don't need all this other little catalyst fires and all. Let's go. Let's go. All right, guys. This is the point in time where I need you guys to let me know, how did you feel about this episode on a scale from 0 to 10? While you guys are talking amongst yourselves and posting that, I will give you my thoughts on the episode. I thought that the characters, I like the fact that we got a deeper sense of individual characters. Like I mentioned with Aegon, for example, we're not getting linear characters, so I do enjoy that. I do feel like this episode didn't come out with a strong punch the way that the previous season did. I don't think that there were a lot. I'm not saying we need cheap artificial WTF moments, but I felt like this could have been an episode that we could have gotten episode 1 and 2. Does that make sense? Like, I felt like we could have gotten 1 and 2, and that would have been a better way to kick this season off. But I understand it's a shortened season, so that won't happen. So I wouldn't say it's the strongest episode. It didn't blow me away. I definitely enjoyed it because now I do want to see what's happening next. So because there wasn't as much action as I would have liked or as many plot turns as I would have preferred, I'm going to give this a 7.5 out of 10. Again, it's a good episode. It's not terrible by any means. But I'm used to getting more from this show. Again, maybe it's because I'm spoiled after doing the rewatch, but I'm used to getting more things that would really get me going. And this didn't exactly get me there. But I still think it's a good episode. So 7.5 out of 10 for me. But let's see. Maybe y'all feel better. Maybe y'all feel worse. Let me see where y'all are at. 9, 8, 7.5, 8, 7.5, 8, 8, 8, 7.75, 8, 7.5, 7.9, 7, 8, 9, 8, 7.5, 8, 8, 9, 8, 9, 7, 8.5, 7.5, 9. Okay. Wait, I got another 9, a 9, an 8, and who else? 8 and a 9. I think we're all there, and a 7. Okay, and another 9. So I think you guys, clearly y'all liked it more than I did, and that's great. And I think that overall we can agree it was still a good episode. Cool by me. All right, guys. Well, listen, that is it. I have a question for you all. I do have a question for you. It is possible. Now, one of the reasons why I like to do these on Monday nights is usually because I wasn't getting any screeners and I wasn't able to prep in enough time. And I wanted everyone to have time to watch the episode so we can react together. But it is possible I might be able to get the screeners just a couple days before, which was great for me because it gives me time to actually read and, prep. So my question for you guys is this. Would you like to move our live chats and reactions to right after the episode ends on Sunday? If you want, I know it's going to be a little late, but if y'all are committed to watching it on time, I will be willing to move it, especially if they give me the episode early. Would you be okay with doing it on Sunday nights right after the episode? Or are you cool with keeping it on Mondays? Whatever is fine by me. I don't really care. So please feel free to vote. I will also make a poll just in case. But feel free to let me know what you think on the replay. If you don't mind, just let me know what you think there. So that way I can see them as well. If anybody's watching on the replay. But just let me know. I'm here for y'all. So if y'all like it on Monday and you want to let stuff marinate, that's cool. If y'all want stuff immediately right after, that's fine too. But anyway, whatever you guys think, feel free to let me know. All right, guys. Hey, look, thank you so much. Of course, we will be back here. At least from these comments, it's looking like Monday. So we'll be back next week for this. Of course, we also have the live for this Wednesday coming up for the Acolyte. We'll talk about that. And then, of course, Friday, we'll be talking about all the news from the week as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate you each and every time. I think I got an NBA Finals to go watch. Woo! Good luck to them Mavericks. But anyway, I appreciate y'all all day, every day. Y'all be safe out there. And until next time, Team Black did nothing wrong. I will see you guys later. Wash your hands, wash your butts, and everything in between. All right. Peace.